Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your short break. We have 2 more sessions, and then we have some lunch. I don't know actually what we're having. I didn't look at the lunch order, so it's going to be a surprise for me as well. I'm sure it's going to be very nice. And thank you very much to Telia. And whilst I'm at it, I'd like to thank all the companies who have made this event possible. Obviously, Telia for the wonderful use of this office, that goes without saying, but also other sponsors such as Eli and his company XConnect. We've got Uku Tomikas here from the CEO of Messente in Estonia. Say hey. That's Uku from Messente. We also have Enea Adaptive Mobile Security. We've got Simeon Coney, who's their Chief Strategy Officer. We've got Simeon right there. Thank you to Simeon. We've got Åsa Larsen from Åsa is over there. Thank you. Managing the Nordics for Infobip sponsoring. We have Catalin and Roberto from Net Number. Where are you guys? At the back there, chilling, taking it really easy. Thanks to very relaxed, really nice seating there. Thanks to you as well. So all of the sponsors make events possible. We are a not-for-profit, and as soon as we step one foot outside of the virtual world, there are costs. So thank you to all the sponsors for making this happen. Now, we've got a panel on a topic I really like, and it's the world of authentication, because it links together everything we've talked about so far. So messaging, security, threats, regulation, the worlds of voice and SMS and other channels. It pulls it together very well. And joining me, we have Mr. Igor Skutsenya from LANCK Telecom. A round of applause for Igor. Take your seat, sir. Excuse me, don't sit down just yet. There we go. Thank you. We have Franck Zaire, who is the CEO of Annecto. Franck is from France, but he's in the UK. And we have Tonis from Messente. A very warm welcome, Head of Global Connectivity. Thank you. So we're here talking about the world of authentication. But before I get going, I always get into the business side of things and keep forgetting about letting these guys introduce themselves and them and their company. So Igor, introduce yourself and your company. So there are some people here who don't know you.
Hello, my name is Igor. I'm a Senior Business Development Manager for LANCK Telecom. I am in charge of all the value-added services that we have, namely RCS, and I'm also covering the Antifraud solutions as well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Tonis.
I'm Tonis from Messente. We basically a gateway for SMBs, main focus on regional small to medium enterprises. And I manage the whole connectivity department regarding procurement, business development on the wholesale side, and everything related to that.
Fantastic. And Franck, your business.
Hi, thanks a lot for the invitation. First of all, Franck Zaire from Annecto Telecom. We specialize in voice and SMS, mainly aggregation. We're based in London and very happy to be here.
You started off in the voice world, didn't you?
Yeah, we started
into SMS.
Yeah, we started in the voice back in 2003. So we've seen all the color and shades.
And when did you move into SMS?
7-8 years ago.
Okay. And Tonis, Messente has been mainly messaging SMS first?
Only SMS and alternative channels now as
so bringing addition.
Yeah.
But LANCK, you started off in voice, didn't you, as well?
Yes, the voice business is, I think, 22 years old, and the SMS business was started in 2012.
Okay, so you've been around a long time. So you've seen it from various angles.
Oh yeah, and we keep seeing it from various angles, which is like we're trying to just understand the whole enormous complexity of
and some angles you don't want to see it from. But there we go, at all. But unfortunately, we are seeing it these days. So this is the good old clicker, and Igor has kindly agreed to give us a very short presentation to frame our ensuing discussion. Actually, we should be sitting this side of things. So can we shuffle up? Go on. Musical chairs.
Okay.
Let's shuffle up a little way because the presentation is going to be up there. And this is the clicker just to make sure this works. It works. So off you go, Igor, take it away.
Thank you very much. So kind of just to frame out the discussion, I'm just going to list the most popular ways to authenticate mobile app users and just give a couple of words about each, kind of generalize them into 2 groups that we're going to talk about a little more. Not going to dive into, not to take away from the subsequent discussion. So the most popular ways to authenticate mobile app users, just to ensure that the proper account is used by the proper person, would be to deliver a one-time password. And there are 6 main ways of delivering those passwords: SMS, flash calls, pin-to-speech, OTT messengers, Passkey, that we're going to touch upon a little bit, and then email, the channel that some companies are forgetting about. So just to kind of generalize those into 2 groups, SMS, pin-to-speech, and flash calls are the MNO-based OTP delivery. I think it's very important just to realize that we're using the MNO-based channels to deliver those, which meaning that the supply chain is still there. It's different with each of these products. Obviously, they all have their own nuances. But the thing is, still, the MNOs are involved and the aggregators are involved in their usual level, and we maintain the same technology that we're basically working on. The SMS obviously is the most popular, the most present one, with unparalleled coverage, unparalleled delivery rate, and this is basically trust. The way it's actually shown, like if you provide coverage, if you provide delivery, this is why the companies would trust you. Rising prices, we're going to touch upon, I'm sure, a little bit during the discussion. And AIT is that newest thing that we discovered and we presented to MEF not so long ago. We will have a dedicated webcast, t:00 on 6th of June. Make sure you tune in to learn more about it. We have some great guests, including Uko over there. Into speech, this is another channel where the SMS pricing is just a little too much for enterprises to endure. So they deliver it by a voice message that is saying your one-time password is 1234 or something like it. Again, this is an operator-based channel. This is not necessarily the most desired kind of voice traffic for operators, but still it's kind of within this usual supply chain grasp. And the flash calls is, I mean, MNOs, they don't like it, and for obvious reason that they basically have no revenue. That it's a zero duration call attempt. But I would like to underline that this is still something that the operators and the aggregators and the industry as a whole can manage, because it's the channel that is using the network. So if you have the right tool to monetize it, if you have the right tool to detect it and to work with it, you can still do some wonderful things with flash calling, with proper pricing model, obviously. But the thing is, there are alternative channels, and they're growing in numbers, especially the OTPs. WhatsApp, Viber, and Telegram are being used for delivering one-time passwords. And this is kind of sad because, well, I mean, the operators, obviously, they are not in the supply chain. Many aggregators are left out. And the thing is, there are many things wrong with OTT channels, even though like it's advertised like it's the new thing. It's like SMS, but it's a lot cheaper. The reality is a little different. So the fraudsters are using it like there's no tomorrow. I mean, we will probably talk about it in some details and present some cases. The email is, for some reason, it's still there. Those of us who are on Zoom calls daily and handle Zoom accounts know what it is like to kind of wait for the email with a one-time code, and it's not getting there, even though you are clear in the list of those who are supposed to receive it. I endure it several times a week, and I don't like it. And the Passkey is this new mysterious way to authenticate users, well introduced by Google, Apple, Microsoft, PayPal, and other large companies. We will probably touch upon it a little bit as well. Just to make sure, these are non-operator-based delivery channels, and I think that's very important to kind of remember about those. So, I guess we're good with the whole channel thing. Once again, shamelessly advertising our subsequent webcast with me, Uku Tomikas from Messente, Simon Mainkin from Clickatel. Yeah, there you go. We're going to be there, but yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Igor. So great framing that discussion. Franck, it's Franck, and your business, your SMS business, what percentage would you say, you may know, of your business today from SMS is this whole area of two-factor authentication, one-time passwords? Is it a meaningful part of your business?
I mean, this is probably 90%. We're not really involved in marketing campaign and so on. So we all been focusing with one-time password and delivery.
What's your client profile? What kind of clients do you have?
So we're trying to assist and work with the mobile operator mainly, trying to provide them solution. And after we in between large aggregator and the MNOs. This is where we sit and where we can add the most value.
What alternative means of authentication from the ones that Igor presented, and maybe some others out there as well and not presented, are you seeing that are proving to be the greatest challenge, shall we say, to the SMS space?
Flash call is an interesting one. So coming from a voice background, we've seen a lot of it in the past, which is a nuisance.
But has flash calling's been around for years?
I mean, yeah, it's been around for years, but it wasn't called flash call. But the principle is the same as like robocall or.
What did it used to be called?
You call it missed call. And people were generating million missed call on networks, so taking up resources on the network, and they were expecting people to call back the number and monetizing things that way. But it kind of pretty much disappear nowadays, and they use same system, same technology, and they move it across to SMS. And it's very tricky to block. That's the problem. To block the flash call from a mobile operator perspective is very, very difficult. What I've seen based on my experience.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Franck. And Tonis, your business as well. What would you say is the rough share of your business with regards to two-factor authentication? So Franck was saying the absolute majority of his business, 90%, is 2FA related. Are you less dependent on 2FA at Messente? Would you say it's a big part of it still?
It's a big part, but definitely less compared to Annecto, because big portion of our business is direct customers from the enterprise side. For them, usually, given the largest accounts, yes, there is verification and 2FA in there, but still the marketing holds quite a big portion of that whole traffic. We are more dependent, obviously, on the OTP and everything on the wholesale side, on the aggregation side, because that's where the most of the business is made on the wholesale side. But regarding our own enterprise traffic, I would say it can be a 50-50 split, or a little bit in favor of 2FA, or even the other way around from time to time.
Are you seeing pressure on your enterprise traffic, your SMS enterprise traffic for 2FA? Are you seeing negative pressure on that? And if you are, what reasons do you see contributing to that?
I wouldn't say negative pressure, because the biggest impact for any alternative that has interest from the enterprise side, for us, it's the rich messaging. And of course, regarding alternative channels that we are promoting to them as well, in some cases, it can be a very valuable tool to actually increase CR, to use those fallback mechanisms. But this mainly contributes to the markets, which is for SMS, it's very, very difficult to get going, or the SMS rate is very, very high. But rather, what we are seeing right now on this day is those markets where it's difficult to actually get going. It's not a plug and play solution, because that is what is needed for the enterprise side if they want to switch their business to us.
I've kept saying that for a long time with SMS. You look at enterprises, certainly when it comes to the marketing side of things, how many small and medium-sized businesses use digital ads from the likes of Meta, and 98% of their revenue is from digital ads. And why is that? Because they make it supremely easy. You look at the conversion ratio of digital ads, it's 1.4, 1.5%. You move up to SMS, 10 times that, and you move up to richer channels, whether it's WhatsApp or whether it's RBM, whatever it might be, then you double that again, and you go higher and higher. So it's a good point you made, because it's not about one channel taking from another. It's ultimately it's about using the right channel in the right place. And if you are offering multiple channels in your offering, then you're going to be okay.
It's about the whole ecosystem here. So I would never confront those alternative channels as a challenger for SMS. I think it complements the whole ecosystem, because as Igor said in the slide, SMS reach is unparalleled. The quality is still unparalleled. But what we can offer, especially for the 2FA part, is we have our own OTP tool that is covered on alternative channels as well. So we can offer them a better rate, better quality in markets where perhaps MNO coverage is a little bit poorer, or not something that we are used to in Europe, for example. I see Igor smiling on that comment.
We could come to Igor, but Franck, just come back to you. Are you seeing pressure from your client base, or do you think you will have to move as a business into the richer channels for delivering those 2FAs, because that's just simply where the industry is heading?
Yes, obviously we have to evolve because new technology have been present to give a seamless password delivery, and just a question of time until it will be adopted by the whole industry. So we will be looking at a SIM-based authentication solution, which are very, very promising. But as SMS has its own use case, in a developing country, for instance, and I think it will remain like the fallback mechanism. Yeah. But if I truly believe that we need to have more CPaaS approach. So twice the richer channel is available because the experience will be better for the end user. And this is what we need. We have to make sure that the end user is happy with the experience.
That's an absolutely amazing point, because so much of what we've talked about up till now, this morning, has been all about the commercial model, the pricing side of things, everything. But at the end of the day, it's the user experience. And I think we're all starting to see more communications from businesses who are asking us, how would we like to be contacted? So, and the options typically are email, SMS, it could be from app push messages, and typically also some of them also have WhatsApp as a separate fourth option in there as well. So that has a great deal to do with the customer experience and enhancing it. And Igor, when it comes to flash calling, Tonis, you made a very good point. Flash calling, some people think that flash calling is bad. There are some mobile operators out there that block all flash calling. And again, I'm not picking on one, but KPN came out, and I saw it on a LinkedIn post, made it very clear, we block all flash calls. So KPN in the Netherlands, they treat all the flash calling as something clearly suboptimal and block it. But MEF members within our fraud and revenue assurance group, and LANCK was one of them, and others contributed to that fantastic white paper written by members, just educating people about this is what flash calling is, this is what it does. It's neither good, it's neither bad, but it comes down to customer experience. Can we just talk about the customer experience on flash call, Igor? What is it good for, and what isn't it good for?
Sure. So the customer experience is very, very different for Android and Apple users. And this is like the largest difference with SMS, for example, when it's identical. Whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone, it's pretty much you get the SMS, you use it the way you're used to for like maybe 15 years already. But the thing is, with flash calls is with Apple and some Android models, the flash call is not recognized by the application as a seamless way to deliver a password. So you have to go into the missed calls, you have to check out those last 4, 5, or 6 digits, and then you have to manually type, not even copy paste it, but actually manually type those digits. And it's kind of, not only it's frustrating, but it's also sometimes people make mistakes when typing those digits in the appropriate field, and that means that you have to deliver this password once again or maybe twice again, just because you have to do all those manual works. With SMS, it rarely happens because the experience is very familiar, but with flash call it isn't. However, with Android, with many applications out there, the user experience is very, very good. I mean, the app actually recognizes the incoming call. It could be dropping the call for you. Go into the missed calls folder, get those digits out there, put it into the appropriate field for you with no human factor. It's just that you don't have to do any work, and it seamlessly lets you in the application. And the way I describe this process obviously brings you onto the privacy side, which is a very large thing with flash call. At least with SMS, you control the process. You actually do all the work, whereas with flash call delivery on Android phones, maybe the applications knows a little too much about you, but that's kind of another thing, obviously. I think, obviously, the user experience is something that cannot be measured like in numbers. You can kind of launch a questionnaire where you ask, well, whether you like it or not, would you like to use it or not? But the thing is, probably the most accurate reflection of the user experience would be conversion rate. If the user experience is perfect, then your conversion rate with the delivered message with the delivered flash call is very, very high. And still, we see that the SMS is up there and is doing a lot better than the others.
Okay, ask the audience. Time to ask the audience. Yes, I haven't asked a question yet. There we go. Yeah, so there we are. But so no, game show fail, locked out, red box. But no, sorry, you got a question straight away. Go ahead.
Okay. One question is this with the flash call.
Talk into it. It's like smoking, I suppose, an e-cigarette.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Yeah. The first question, it's not a question, but why should we, as an operator, allow these flash calls? We either block it or take money for it, because now we have no advantages from it. But that is quite obvious. So the other question was about hacking on the Android phone when you have this automatic. Wouldn't that be quite easy to hack into for someone, criminals there?
I think that with flash call, I mean, it would be kind of harsh to say, but it doesn't get dark in the whole world when you shut your eyes. So with flash calls, I mean, it's going to stay whether the operators would like it or not at this level of technology. However, there is technology that we talked about at the previous panel, and we're one of the lucky few that have this technology that is able to detect flash calls. And by actually having the good tool to actually detect flash calls in real time, instantly, with a very, very high level of accuracy, would allow you to control it. And it's going to be up for the operator whether they would like perhaps to block it altogether. And this is one way to go. On the other hand, if they would like to kind of monetize it, it's also available with a proper tech, because you can dedicate a trunk for flash calls. You can actually streamline the process, agree on the range where the range of A numbers where the flash calls are originating at, and then just make it a legal service. And plus blocking all those that are not covered by the agreement, because it would make any sense for you to make an agreement for something that the enterprises would have to pay if they have a backdoor and they don't have to pay for anything. This contract would make any sense because they would, continue using the other way. So the proper tech, I think, is the key for the operators to truly have this choice, whether they would like to monetize flash calls or block it altogether. And for now, in middle of 2023, not all operators have this technology that actually provides it, but there is one. So there is a choice. If you would like to block it, go for it. If
the commercial model is the same, so in simple language, you're charging the same for an SMS as you would a flash call, then it's a choice, and here you go. You may say, okay, for Android, we're going to roll with, could be with SMS, and for iPhone, something else. Gives you that choice.
Yeah, and the second question was about the user experience and the hacking.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, I would say that, I mean, I'm not that good of a hacker. And in fact, I'm not a hacker at all. But the thing is that you give the common application and many applications on your Android phone this capability to peek into all the missed calls that you have, and you're allowing it to pick the call or drop the call, and then extract some data from that list of missed calls and then transfer it somewhere. It's kind of concerning. I would put it like this. And not all users can and should address this thing. I mean, they like to be seamlessly authenticated, not to deal with all the fuss of actually copying and pasting some random numbers. But the thing is that this danger is there, and I think this is something that the regulators should obviously take a look into. This is one of the perks of using the amino-based channels like SMS, pin-to-speech, and flash call. It's still within the framework of operators and regulators that control them. So you actually have, for once, it's actually good that you have the government and regulators on your side and peeking into your business and just managing how things are done. So,
Franck, coming to you. So, richer channels. So let's say WhatsApp. Believe it or not, but TikTok is absolutely fine using WhatsApp, massive competitor, Meta, as a two-factor authentication mechanism. Other companies might not be. the trust side of things, where do you see there are going to be many organizations out there thinking, even if, well, especially now, WhatsApp, I mentioned earlier today, the pricing June the 1st, suddenly now for the two-factor authentication use case, because they're dividing up and making pricing different depending on use case now around the world, and now for 2FA in the majority of countries, WhatsApp is cheaper than SMS. Do you see a lot of enterprises and organizations suddenly switching to WhatsApp? Or what about the trust angle there? Would you trust Meta with your 2FAs if you are not Meta? A tough question, I know. Or it does not matter. Whoever else it is, a third party. And is that really going to impact the business for SMS or not?
I think it will. I think it definitely will. If you look at the enterprise, what is important for them is to onboard a customer. Now, we all be talking about, SMS, this media, or flash call, but what is key is the customer to be onboarded, because as an enterprise, you're actually paying quite significant amount of money to onboard. So the cost of acquisition could be like $10, $20 to get a customer on board. And because you use technology which is not suitable, you might just lose this client. So it's very key to have a media for authentication which is reliable and trustworthy as well. It's very key. And I think we'll be focusing a lot about the very low level. But if our industry wants to survive, we need to add value. So what's been discussed in the previous talk, I really liked. We need to have additional features to our authentication, not focus so much on flash call or SMS, but what about is the SIM is roaming, or is there been a SIM swap? On we need to add value to our services. And currently, our offering is driven by cost at the moment, and it's kind of the margin are eroding because we're just focusing on providing a very small block of the whole authentication.
But aren't we, or certainly a subset of our industry, the industry's our own worst enemy? So certain players, could be certain aggregators, just dumping traffic at an unfeasibly suboptimal low, let's say, commercial model position.
Yeah,
so, and that's hurting the whole industry. Yeah,
it is. I mean, without going to commercial models, the pricing the revenue expectation from certain operator are being fairly unrealistic, and they've been entertained by other aggregators who just promise them figures which are not achievable.
Monetizing their inbound A2P SMS traffic.
So I mean, it is one of the key motivation to be seduced by artificial traffic, because you commit to 100 when actually you're only doing 75, and actually on the market only 50 exist. So how do you bridge the gap that you promised over 2 years for the commitment? So that's why some people are very tempted to go in this direction. But yeah, it's becoming a very interesting market, I have to say, and I think we have to be it's very important for us aggregator to add value in the process. If you start doing a price war, I mean, no one's going to win, and the industry is going to be doomed.
Tonis, believe it or not, I can't believe it, but we're going to have a question. We'll come to you, Michael, with a question. But last comment from Tonis before we move to any more questions from the audience. We have one from Michael Power over here. And go on.
For me, it still boils down to trust. What has been talked over here. It's good to have a conversation and look ahead and think what's going to happen with the alternative channels. This SMS is going to lose out on it. But at the same time, the OTP is still, it's a foundation of the whole A2P industry. It has been for a long time and will be. But what worries me is that what Franck mentioned here as well, and especially artificially inflated traffic, we are chipping away on that foundation as an industry. The fraudsters, maybe the bad players, because, and coming back to what Nick Lane said in the Dublin event, it's the #1 risk for the whole industry this year. And we're talking about as billions of euros. So this is, for me, what I think should be addressed more, because alternative channels is going to stay there. They're going to grow. It's happy. But we should get back the trust into the SMS channel, because there is, as you mentioned before, 95% of companies are not using SMS or any A2P service for their business. that's where the growth should come from.
But for that trusted position, to establish what is trust, and more importantly, who is trusted, who should actually decide that? Who's trusted and they're not so trusted? That's exactly it. And this is, I suppose, only where neutral trade organizations, whether it's MEF, whether it's I3 Forum, the Global Leadership Forum, the GLF, the Global Solutions Council, the GSC, and others, well, it's only them and those organizations actually combining forces and working together and pulling in the same direction. That's the only way I think that could possibly be achieved. But anyway, we've got a question from Michael Power. I'll just grab this. Oh, so you've got one there. Thank you. Thank you, Clara.
Thank you. So I'm quite interested. We talk about the technical.
Michael, could you introduce yourself, your company, everything? Where you from?
Sure. So my name's Michael Power. I've got a little company called Abla, where we basically make it easy for consumers to find and chat with brands. That's our goal. Make conversations more accessible for everyone. And so I've done a lot of chatting with brands, testing out various channels. And the question I've got really around OTP is, we talk about the technicalities, the commercial models. From those points of views, anything's possible. But if you put yourselves in the shoes of the consumer, I don't really want my WhatsApp feed full of one-time passcodes. I'm quite happy having them on SMS because it allows me to have my conversational channels where I'm talking to family members, friends, brands even. What I don't want is that list full of phone or 4 or 5 digit codes that enable me to do things on my phone or access bank accounts. And I think there's a real we need to have a look at how consumers are actually going to receive this and the impact it has on the messaging channels and the way they use them, because I think that is going to have an impact on actually how viable this is. And I think if I was Meta, I would be questioning the impact that will have on perhaps the use of my channel as a consumer messaging channel.
It's a good point, because we've talked about fraud and SMS, fraud in voice, but hey, there's a lot of fraud and unsolicited stuff going on in the likes of WhatsApp. And you move to India, who have the larger deployment of distributed blockchain, in simple language, distributed ledger technology, commercial use in the whole world to combat SMS fraud. And what did everything do? It moved to WhatsApp. And when RBM, rich business messaging, ceased last May, but good news for India, a huge market, 1.4 billion people, it restarted with Google and Vodafone Idea in April. So that's back now. But that void was filled by WhatsApp for two-factor authentications as well, and a huge amount of spam pouring in there as a result.
Yeah, and if I could add, the WhatsApp, in essence, it's a proprietary, unregulated channel. I mean, it could be cheap, it could be omnipresent somewhere, it could have a good coverage, but still, it's unregulated and it's proprietary. And the fraudsters are already knowing it, and for over a year now, the North American financial organizations that I cannot name, but even a single financial company that we're in talks with for over a year now, they claim that their losses from fraudsters using WhatsApp to WhatsApp communications are in tens of millions of dollars. And this is just one bank. Because with WhatsApp to WhatsApp communication, they can spoof the number, they can convince the user without paying too much that they are truly the bank that they claim they are, and then they would defraud, sadly, senior citizens out of their life savings. And the thing is that the banks, when they go to the owner of the channel, they wait for several weeks for them to just respond to an email, and then they say there's nothing we can do, because there are no regulation in place, there is no control mechanism in place, meaning that the fraudsters just have their day with it.
Yeah. And I think also as well, just the last point as well, with WhatsApp, there's no automatic fallback to SMS. We've experienced 2 rather large outages in the past 12 months of the WhatsApp service, and if you were relying on that solely, game over for your 2FA. Game over. So you need to have definitely a multi-channel approach. It's clear from the panel. We could talk about this for a lot longer. We don't have the time, but thank you, Igor from LANCK Telecom, Tonis from Messente, and Franck from Annecto. And thanks to all of you in the audience for your engagement as well. Thank you.